Okay, so Sky Third, am I right? The game some people say is skippable, and those people I don't get where they're coming from.
Yeah. Okay, so today me and Kira are going to talk about Sky Trails in the Sky the Third, which is the last game in the Trails in the Sky trilogy. And yeah, like you said, this game is a game that is for some reason very divisive, despite the fact that I think it's like one of the better games in the series.
Yeah, I agree. It is a really really good game.
Like
I
I don't understand why it's so
yeah,
divisive at all.
I
Like
kind of see why, like because it's it doesn't have a traditional format in terms of, and it's very dungeon crawler based
yeah,
compared to the other games. So
the common criticisms for this game. Okay, like we're gonna say this right now. Trails in the Sky the Third, it takes on a very different structure from first chapter and second chapter,
yeah.
where this game takes place entirely in one location.
Yeah, if you're wondering why, even though this is a Trails in the Sky game, and when we're not having a map of Liberl, it's because, like Matthew said, it doesn't take place in Liberl. So we're
No,
having this map of the place it does take place in. Also, yeah, just if you haven't played there's spoiler warning at the beginning. Just there will be spoilers to this game and the entire
yeah,
Sky trilogy.
but yeah, like I was saying, this game takes place entirely in one location, and it's like very much like a dungeon crawler kind of thing. Like you go in, you get your characters, you go through all these different floors, you progress further and further up this dungeon, and then like you unlock new characters. Like it feels very sandboxy in that way, where like you can kind of you get like access to all these different characters to use and such, which is cool. But though there is a game later down the line that
Yeah.
uses this idea, but like actually has an overworld on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it we'll get to there. We'll get there at some point, but but in regards to this game though, there is a lot of characters. The issue
Yeah,
is the balancing is pretty good for the most part,
yeah,
except
you can,
for the best
yeah,
character and the worst character.
yeah,
Like,
you can get away. You can get away with like almost any team in this game, to be honest.
yeah.
Like sure, some teams are more effective than others, but like you can get away with pretty much any team for the most part.
Yeah, barring certain fights, at which point you're gonna need to
Yeah,
optimize,
yeah,
but
some fights are just gonna be really hard with like the more weaker characters, but
yeah.
though to be honest though, see what I would do if I was if I had to use one of the weaker characters is that I would cheat by using a one broken character and just have them solo it for me.
Yeah, fair. It's just to be specific, I dread the idea of having to fight Cassius and Luve at the same time as Josette. Sorry, with
Yeah,
Josette in my
no,
party. No,
yeah,
thank
okay,
you. Not for
yeah, no,
me.
yeah, no, but okay, but yeah, to start with, okay, so Trails in the Sky the Third is a very unique game in the series where the protagonist this time is actually not Estelle Bright. Um, the protagonist this time is actually Kevin Graham. Hey, remember him from the last game?
Me
Um,
neither.
yeah, me neither. I don't remember him either. But yeah, he's the protagonist of this game, and that is it was very interesting to see because like there was kind of like a little glimpse of what they of like them showing us showing us like this guy is more than he seems. So like seeing him as the protagonist, like being like the helm of like most of the content of the game was a cool thing to see for its time. And Trails has
Definitely.
also played around with this idea a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's definitely a unique idea. It was definitely a unique idea at this point. For the series, I mean, no duh, it's the first time we had a different protagonist. But like even up to Reverie, it was but not including Reverie. It was a unique idea to have like like having a different protagonist for an entire game.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and it's also like very cool to see like basically like the opening of this game. You're on you're on an airship. Kevin is infiltrating something to get an artifact. It's fucking cool as shit. He fucking like you get to disguise in. He's like flirting with the guests and shit.
yeah, yeah.
And then he like
Kevin gets a lot of good moments in this game. So
yeah, like basically like this entire game is just exploring like Kevin's character a lot, and how this whole cube situation happens is that yeah, Kevin meets up with one of his childhood friends, new character Reese.
Yeah,
Um, she and him have like some bad beef because Kevin left her behind, blah 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 blah. Didn't really Reese felt abandoned by him, so she kind of like held his grudge for a while, and like you could tell they still care about each other, but like they still got a lot of things to get through. But then the artifact they were searching for fucking sucks them inside of it, along with some other things. But
yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah,
yeah, now you're stuck inside this cube. How do we get the fuck out of here?
yeah. That's pretty much a good portion of the game. It's just trying to find a way out of Phantasma, which is the
Yeah,
name of the place. So
yeah, yeah. It's called the Recluse Cube, but yeah, the place that
yeah,
you get stuck inside of is called Phantasma, and then
yeah,
like later on you find out like why Phantasma like recreates like certain things from like Liberl and like the past and such.
yeah, yeah. It's very interesting, and then there's also some scenes behind some of the doors, which is a mechanic I'll get to in a second, that
Yeah,
doesn't have a location that are from locations outside of Liberl, or
yeah.
there's one door in
So
particular that might have taken
yeah,
place in like a version of Liberl, or like a plane near Liberl, but we don't know.
yeah.
We'll get to that
So
soon.
but yeah, so basically, like, Sky the Third serves a very unique purpose in the series, where it kind of is a capstone game for this
Yeah.
Sky arc, closing off like this part of the story, while also opening up new things for later expansion in other games.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's why when people say, "Hey, you can skip
Like
Sky
like
Third, it's just filler."
like
No,
stuff
no.
that's revealed in this game gets expanded upon in later arcs.
Yeah, like it is this if do not skip this game, period. Like you no
Yeah,
matter
no, I don't think
like
any game in the
oh my
series is
God.
skippable. We talked about this in our first episode, but like I don't think any game in the series is skippable.
Except
Like
for
no matter
maybe
what.
Nayuta. Nayuta maybe, but like if we're
Yeah.
talking main series Trails games, none of them are
Yeah, I
skippable.
don't think a single game in the series is skippable. And the reason for that is because even if something seems like it doesn't matter, it will
It does.
probably matter at some
It does.
point. It probably will matter at some point. And like Sky the Third, and I think Sky the Third is like the one that I would argue is like has the least amount of filler content in it.
Yeah, pretty
one of the
much.
one of the lower amounts of filler contents because like that game has so many plot points that are expanded upon in Cold Steel, in
Yep.
Crossbell,
Yeah, it's crazy
like
how
even
much setup
even
there was
even
here.
Daybreak, even
Yeah.
in Daybreak, they call back the Sky the Third sometimes.
Yep. Yep. Like it's like the big main plot doors for future arcs is the I say the big one because because there are absolutely other doors that are relevant for future arcs, like most of them are.
Yeah, no,
So
like
is Star
yeah,
Door 14. It's not the last one you encounter, but it's the last one you open because the requirement to open it is see every other door scene. It's like complete every other door.
yeah, and
Okay,
that
fine.
yeah, and that
That
and
door.
that
Holy
door
shit.
explains that door is a very big eye opener to a lot of like to a couple underlying mysteries like who Ouroboros
Yep.
are. That's our first glimpse of who the Grandmaster of Ouroboros is, who's
Yep.
basically like the leader of the entire organization. By the way, uh, just a little side note about the Grandmaster. To this day, we still don't know who it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, speaking of the Grandmaster, the original Sky Third did not have a dub. The well, it sorry, did not have voice acting apart from in cutscenes. All it did was like some random voice lines in at the end of battle, or like some in battle voice clips.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, the Evo, the Evolution version, which is in the top right corner above Matthew here, is there was voice acting added, and we found out through that the voice that the Grandmaster is probably a woman, considering the voice. So
yeah. I know. and like the appearance that the Grandmaster takes in other games is a woman appearance.
Yeah.
So unless we're proven otherwise, it is a woman.
Yes. Yeah. So if you
But
hear us
but
referring
we
to
don't.
her,
But like
like,
we do not know who she is
yeah.
or who they are. All we know is that they exist and
Yep.
they are the leader of the organization, so on and so forth. Um, if we ever find out who it is, like that would be awesome. That's
We
like
will
probably
at
we'll
the
find out.
very last game.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Like, see you in see you in
knowing
10
how they
years.
knowing how they are, they're gonna delay it as much as
Yeah,
possible.
see you in 10 years.
See you in 10 years, bro. Find the real answer in 10 years. But
Yeah.
no, that's besides the point. Yeah. In this game, we see the first glimpse of her, and it's kind of interesting, and also like also some other like names for other Ouroboros Anguisses that get some screen time later in the series.
Yeah.
I believe Thousand Oathbreakers dropped here, and I believe also Azure Abyss is dropped here.
I think you're correct. I mean, hang on. I have the thing pull up. I'll
I,
check.
'cause yeah, I know. Oathbreaker from Daybreak was dropped in Sky the Third.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, if you heard a Windows sounds because I'm control Fing on the memory door for Stardoor 14. Let's
Yeah,
see, because I don't actually have all of them memorized, contrary to what my friends sometimes say.
yeah, no. I'm also like a bit rough here. Like I haven't played Sky the Third in a very long time, but I do remember
Yeah.
most things in the game. So, like he said, I also have like a window open to refresh myself on some events in the game.
Yeah.
No, nothing wrong with doing that. Like you're not you're not gonna remember everything.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you play the game unless you like speedrun the game or something, but then you won't know, like then you probably won't be reading the story.
Yeah, but like
So,
these games are massive. Like even like shorter games like Sky the Third are still pretty massive.
yeah. Yeah. And like I'm on the wiki right now for Starter 14 Phantasmal Blaze. We have the concepts brought up are the Phantasmal Blaze plan,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Celestial Globe. Both of those have pages. One of them does not. The Orpheus Final plan. From where I'm up to in Daybreak 1, I don't know much about it other than it's about to start. It was started at the end of Cold Steel 4 when the Phantasmal Blaze plan stopped. And
yeah,
that's where I'm stopping because they're otherwise again to spoiler territory for other games. So
yeah, yeah. The Phantasmal Blaze has payoff in a
so
later
much,
game, but
yeah.
we can't get there yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying before, this game sets up a lot of like different things that would be expanded upon later in the series.
Yeah.
So
It's
like that's why I think personally it's not skippable because like
yeah.
otherwise these like sure you could probably like get away with like only finding out about like that thing in that particular game, but like even then, like just knowing about
Yeah.
it like beforehand will like give you an idea. Oh yeah, I know that. That's from Sky the Third, you know?
Yeah. And then uh yeah, just the doors in general are a
Also
great
like
system,
yeah,
but
doors. Yeah, basically the doors are there to like give some closure to some characters. Put us some little stories here and there about these characters. Some of them are like very good. Some of them like change like a lot about the series going forward.
yeah, like what's like
Like the Phantasmal Blaze Plan one, and then
yeah.
a particular other one we'll talk about later. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that one.
yeah. We'll talk about that one later. But like, okay,
Yeah.
but basically, like, yeah, the general like thing with this game is that like you're stuck in this cube. You got to get through the dungeon, and you find all these different party members, and then like slowly throughout the game, you find out little bits and pieces about Kevin's past and who
Yeah.
Kevin is as a character. And wow, this game goes places that like not a lot of games in the series go.
Yeah. Especially with that
Like
door that we'll cover later.
yeah, like Kevin is a very tragic character in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Very flawed, very much human in a lot of his actions. He he um he's my favorite character in the whole series because he is just so fucking good. like
Yeah.
like he literally went from a character that I didn't really think that much of to like my favorite character in the whole series.
Yeah, I think yeah, my favorite character in Trails had a similar journey from like I don't really like you, you little shit, to holy shit, you're my favorite character. So,
Yeah, yeah, no. So like I'm very excited like whenever I play a new Trails game and they mention Kevin's name or like maybe he shows up or something.
yeah.
Uh, but like I've talked about it before, but if you're a Kevin fan, you're kind of used to like being disappointed by them not using him very much.
Yup, because it's like yeah, Falcom does not appreciate Kevin. The only character I think has been not the only character, but one of the few characters I can think of off the top of my head that's had it worse is Colonel Richard.
Yeah,
But
Richard's another character in this game that's like
yeah.
that gets like a really good arc, and like yeah, they have not brought him back since this
This
game.
game, yeah. And
I don't even think they've mentioned him since this game, to
nope.
be honest.
No, I think they have once, and that was when they brought all the eight leaves, one blade together, and if I'm
Yeah, for that
remembering correctly,
for
it
the
was there,
Reverie art,
but
yeah, for like the Reverie art book.
and that's it. That's it. Yeah, he I
But
feel
yeah,
really, really
I'll
bad for
talk
any
about
fans of Richard.
I'll talk about my qualms with that stupid art book when we get to Reverie. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And then what was it? And then well, so do you want to start talking about like the gameplay with the characters, or do you want to continue talking about the story for now?
okay. So I guess we could talk a bit about the story. So yeah, basically, like I was saying, throughout the game, you go across these different like floors and you find out different things about Kevin's past, like these little flashback sequences, and you find out like how Kevin like became a part of this new group called this group called the Growlsritter. The Growlsritter are basically like a group of enhanced like priests that have special powers, and their entire thing is to hunt down these things called artifacts, which are very powerful things that can do bad things. So it's their job to get them and make sure they don't get in the wrong hands, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah, Kevin is one of these Gralsritters, and yeah, the special power they have is called a stigma, and stigmas are basically um, they're basically like super duper power boosts that like attach to the person's like body in some way, and like we meet a couple characters that have these stigmas, and stigmas are triggered by trauma in someone's life, like a traumatic event, so to speak, causes these marks to appear. And yeah, Kevin's traumatic event was losing
hunting.
someone very
Yeah.
yeah losing someone very important to him, and he and him being thinking feeling like he was responsible for that person's death is like the crux of like a lot of his struggles as a character.
Yeah. And it's a very core part of this game's emotional and not just emotional, just its game's plot in general.
Yeah, so
Because
like yes, like a lot of Kevin's act. The thing is, like Kevin is very much defined by the fact that he is afraid of getting close to people. Right? He's afraid of being too close to someone because he doesn't want something like that happened to his friend to ever happen again. So he closes people off and such. It's the reason why he relates a lot to Joshua in a lot of ways. Where like they both kind of go through the same sort of thing, where they both like struggle to bring people in and let people be in their lives and kind of push people away, kind of use them as well. Kevin is more so to an extreme because he's like for a lot of the game he's like kind of using these people to like further his own goals and not really being their friend.
yeah, yeah, I
And
mean,
it's not until Reese is like you're like you're being ignorant, you're stupid. Like why are you not letting me be part of your life? And then Kevin's like, oh, you don't understand or whatever.
yeah, I mean
And like
from
yeah, Reese Reese in a lot of ways is kind of like Kevin's like person that he can talk to and and like really open up to and like try and do better by throughout a lot of the game.
yeah, 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 I
Yeah.
mean.
And then, okay, yeah, you go.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
It's the with Kevin's story. It's I wouldn't. Hmm. I don't know if I like. It's a very like Kevin's story is very much so the central plot of Sky Third. Like
Yep.
even more so. I like Estelle and like is even more like so than like Estelle and Joshua story. Like Estelle and Joshua's story was like the emotional core, but the plot was something else. So,
Yeah.
but
Kevin,
then in this
Kevin,
case,
Kevin,
the
yeah,
plot
Kevin
revolves
is
around Kevin's story.
pretty much the entirety of it revolves around him. And then like, okay, we talked about her a little bit, but like, I want to talk about Reese for a second because okay, Reese is a new character introduced in this game, and oh my god, she is so great.
Yes.
Um, her like she's a squire. A squire is basically kind of like an underling to a Ritter, so to speak. Um, most Ritters have a squire or two or more, and yeah, Kevin's is Reese, and Reese is well. At first, you think that like, oh, no, she's being kind of mean towards Kevin, but then Kevin's like, hey, how about we go over to the bakery and I get you a a big loaf of bread or whatever? And she's like, oh, yeah. Her thing is that she likes eating a lot.
Yep.
She
Yep.
loves eating things. Like, it's funny. Like she gorges herself on these pastries.
Yeah. Reese is very fun. Is a very fun character.
Yeah, and like she's also like bit like I said, like yeah, she has like that quality where she's like really goofy with the fucking food thing, but
Yeah.
she is very emotionally mature despite her age.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
And
what else? Hmm?
yeah, like she's very important to Kevin's story. Like you
Yeah.
could say they're inseparable, so to speak.
Well. Anyway.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
What were they thinking?
Yep. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah,
So
but okay, let's I guess we
let's talk
I,
about the
I,
characters. Like the
I guess
playable
yeah.
characters.
The
So
playable characters in this game. Yeah,
Josette,
there's a lot of them.
yeah, Josette. There's like what, 12 of them, I think. Josette is retains her role as worst party member in the Sky trilogy, maybe even the whole series. And I don't think it is. She,
Yeah,
yeah,
she sucks. She
she
sucks.
is probably if she's not the bottom one in the entire series, she's definitely bottom three in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like, and then
she's bad.
yeah, and then the only and then in the game that has, in my opinion, the worst character in the series, also has, in my opinion, the most broken character in the series. That being
Yeah,
Colonel Richard.
yeah. Okay.
There's an
Uh,
argument
I
for another character to be more broken than him, but I personally think Richard's better. We've
yeah.
Matthew and I have
Um,
had this discussion before.
yeah. Like Trails. Like the thing is, Trails is no stranger to like very overpowered party members. Like there's like pretty much every game has like its own fair share of like almost every game at least has a fair share of like, oh, this character's fucking just broken as shit. I want to run them on my team, you know. But like yeah, like Richard is like to a point where like he just like he basically like sure he's like a late game party member, but he like any like sort of challenge you have after that is like almost completely invalidated by how broken he is. And the reason why he's so broken is that he just is so fucking fast and has no delay on anything that you could just like spam crafts 9 or 10 times in a row and just like completely kill things like outright. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
like I would like out of all of his crafts, I would genuinely say his S craft is his worst one because of how much delay it gives him compared to his other crafts. Just
Yeah,
having next to
so
like
like
having
so the strat
having. Hmm?
yeah, so the strat with him is that you give him like gladiator items, so you gives him CP
Yep,
recovery, and then like you buff him a clock up EX, and literally nothing will outspeed
nothing.
him.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I there's a like, I consider one of the hardest bosses in the Sky trilogy. Cassius Bright. On I beat him first try on Nightmare mode because of Richard, Clock up EX, and I barely used Earthwall during that. It was absurd.
Yeah, no, yeah, Richard is really fucking strong. Like he is the strongest character in that game.
Yeah, yeah, I
He is
would.
so fucking good.
Yeah, I would genuinely. I would like. I saw a Steam guide once that said downsides to Richard invalidates everyone else, and that's his only downside.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
there's a
agree. I
yeah,
completely agree.
there's like a meme format tier list that that ranks every character, and like yeah, he has his own tier, and his only
Yeah.
flaw is that he invalidates everyone else.
Yup. Yup. And it's just true. It like he really does just make any other like craft or physical based attacker just significantly less appealing compared to him.
Yeah,
So
like yeah, and then like there's like other really strong characters in this game. Like yeah, Ren's pretty strong.
Ren
Kevin
is
is
one of the
also
best. Ren is the
Ren
best
is very
caster in the Sky trilogy, from what I've
yeah
seen.
yeah like Ren's very strong. Joshua's a strong character too.
Yeah,
Kevin's also pretty good.
which is
And
good
then like
because he was in
everyone
your party for the most
Yeah,
part.
Kevin is your main character, so you have to have him in every like single encounter.
Pretty
And
much,
good thing
yeah.
for that because Kevin is very very strong. He has very good crafts. He has
Yep.
crafts that do decent damage. He has some healing crafts, and then some utility ones. And then like he's also good at using arts and healing, so that's always a nice thing to have on a character.
Yeah. Yeah, like his S-Craft is just
Also, yeah,
it's so dumb.
Grail, Grail Spear is really strong because like you get two immunity shields for 200 CP, and a lot of
It is
bosses
worth
like
it.
love
Their
doing
S-Craft, yeah.
fucking love S crafting you. So it's nice to just immunity block them.
Yep. Yep. It
So
is.
like yeah, so yeah, Kevin is very invaluable in this game. Like this game would be a lot harder if he wasn't there.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
Definitely.
even like sure you have Richard, but like even then Richard could still die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I would say Kevin. Okay. I my ideal party in this game would probably be Kevin because Gallsphere, Chloe for just for her S-Craft because if like for as like a backup to Kevin's in case like oh I'm low on HP, Kevin doesn't have his S-Craft ready, or I'm low on HP, the boss has an S-Craft coming up in 2 turns, not one. It's a good backup for
Yeah,
that. Richard because he's Richard. And then in the third slot, I'd probably say either Ren or Joshua, depending on what
yeah.
fight it is.
Yeah, like um, like Ren and Richard are like both late game party members, but they're both like absurdly strong. Like
Yeah,
what makes Ren so good is that she has like the best art line in the game. So
yeah.
you could literally combine anything in the game, combine any like quartz in the game, and get any art you want on her basically.
For context, her orbment is a straight line with no element locked
Yeah,
sockets.
it,
The
it's just
only other
one
character
straight color.
that has a straight line is Chloe, and she was nerfed by having 3 water locked slots.
Yeah, that's like the one thing Chloe has against her is that she has too many
Yeah,
water lock slots. But like yeah,
which yeah,
Ren does not have that restriction. You could run whatever you want on her.
yeah. It is. She is
So
the best
also
caster.
her ATS stat is higher than every other caster
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
The her only downside, if this is even a downside, is that her crafts suck.
Yeah, I'd also say another one of her downsides is that she's very squishy in that like
Yeah,
she dies pretty easily compared to some of the other party members, but like they had to nerf her somehow, otherwise you'd have another
yeah, Ren,
Richard on our
yeah, like
hands.
Ren, yeah, like basically Ren is the definition of a glass cannon character.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she is a nuclear bomb with the magic damage, but like she'll die to like anything unless you give her a shield.
yeah, yeah. Like
But,
I was
yeah,
surprised she was able to
really good.
survive a hit from Cassius on Nightmare, but that was probably because I was slightly overleveled for that fight.
Yeah, fair enough. But like yeah, like uh, but yeah, like I did say before, like you can like get away with most of the characters in this game just fine. Like
Yeah.
the only one that's like actually like unusably bad is Josette.
Which is unfortunate because you do end up having to use her in the final chapter for the boss rush.
Yeah, this game does like that thing that some other games do, where like it forces you to use every character in the game
Yep.
at some point.
Yeah.
Well, during the final part of the game, at least, they force you to use every character in the game. That's kind of annoying. But one thing they do to alleviate that is they give you a little grind floor part of
Yeah.
the Phantasma where you can like grind some like weaker mobs to level up your characters.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. In my first playthrough of Sky Third, I Josette gained the max amount of EXP because I just never in several consecutive fights because I never used her since I unlocked her.
Yeah,
Like
no, it's
barring when I had to. But
yeah, no, yeah, no, literally, like when I found out about the little grind floor, I spent like a good amount of time grinding those underleveled characters because it was just I
yeah.
because like someone told me, oh hey, make sure to do that because otherwise you
Yep.
get fucked. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, well, I'll get them all to like level 130 or whatever, and just like that'll be fine probably.
Yeah, I mean for me, the only real headache was the final boss. Had a had I think it was freeze, and I didn't know you had to equip freeze as accessories. So that was rather annoying, but
Yeah, I remember I beat the final boss of this game without the final boss getting a single attack in.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, my first playthrough of Sky Third, I didn't put
So
Richard on my main party with because a lot of my
yeah, yeah,
teammates were
yeah,
underleveled.
yeah, like my my the thing is basically how it works is that the whoever's in Kevin and Reese's party during the finale is whoever is that's the boss that's the team you use to fight the final boss with.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what I did is I put Kevin and Reese are forced there, right? And then like I put in Richard and Ren, and I buffed up Richard, and he just
Yep.
demolished the final boss.
Sounds about right.
The final boss barely got any hits in. It was fucking insane.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was probably
that's the power of
that was
Richard.
probably that was probably like one time it was because like Trail's final bosses typically are like very like damage spongy and like
Yeah,
annoying. But like that was like the one time where I was like actually like mogging the shit out of the final boss.
yeah. We're gonna see. We haven't gotten to the most annoying final boss in my opinion yet. We'll be seeing that soon.
We'll talk about like the other fucking
That
annoying.
boss.
Yeah, they're like Trails is kind of like I think it's one thing that is kind of annoying is that like Trails like they're not like the most balanced games ever. Like you could usually beat these games just fine, like even on a first playthrough. But
Yeah,
like bro, like they'll fucking they throw all the difficulty on the final boss
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. For like some of the Trails games, the hardest part of the game is holding back your tears or holding back your urge to punch your screen due to a villain doing something. So, or
Yeah,
just poor
like
writing decision, but.
yeah,
That last one
but
doesn't
like
happen that often,
yeah, no, the
at least
fucking
early on.
yeah, yeah, no, the fucking the bosses, man. Like some of these bosses, like the thing is, okay, some bosses I think are pretty well designed, others are not well designed at all.
Yeah, yeah. I think the Sky Trilogy had a pretty good set of final bosses, though I will say the the first phase of the final boss of first chapter with Richard was that was probably the most annoying fight I had in the entire Sky Trilogy up to when I did my
Yeah,
night once up to my nightmare playthrough of Sky Third.
yeah, no,
I mean, to be fair, I
like,
haven't finished it
uh,
yet, but
yeah, no, but yeah, like just in general though, like yeah, the final boss of this game isn't like really that bad.
yeah,
Um,
it's really not.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's pretty honest, I'd say, pretty fair.
yeah,
Um,
it's not like
we
certain other
we get
final boss.
yeah, no. There are some other ones that I do agree. Oh yeah, that boss was awful.
Yeah.
But no, okay. Like I guess now we can start talking about like some of the other things this game has to offer. And yeah, one of the other things this game has to offer are the doors. Doors are basically little mini episodes. Um, revolving around certain characters. Sometimes you like most of the time it'll say, "Oh yeah, you need to bring this particular character to access this door,"
Yeah.
and yeah, and like they're like little mini stories that play out. Some of them are pretty nice. There's one with Tita and Agate where like Agate goes to visit Tita and she like works on her little orbital gear thingy,
Yeah.
and some wacky hijinks ensue.
Yeah. The Orbital Gear project is split into two parts,
It
actually,
is.
because
Yeah,
of
because yeah, basically, that door is your introduction to doors, so you have to do that one, the first part of it, like
yeah.
mandatory no matter what, and then like every other door is optional.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I'd recommend
so
doing
in
all of
my
them, but
yeah, I do recommend doing all of them because otherwise you have a very short game on your hands.
yeah, like do as many of them as you can. If you don't want to do Star Door 15, that's fine. Just once you've completed every other door, make sure you look up Star Door 14 on YouTube because that is
Yeah,
very important.
yeah,
Why am I specifying Star Door 15? You'll see.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, basically like these doors are like little stories that tell all these different things with these different characters. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are, they're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's for the most part they're pretty good. And
There
like
is one exception though.
yeah, I'll talk about some of the ones that I like remember, but like besides like yeah, the Orbital Project one, which is like the first one you get.
Yeah.
Um, there's this other one that I thought was pretty good. Basically, it involves Joshua and Chloe.
Oh, that
They're
one.
they're 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 in a party. They're celebrating,
Star Door 3,
and
right?
I believe that's Star Wars 3, yeah. And Chloe up until this point has been very very conflicted about her feelings towards Joshua, and she kind of, I think in her heart she accepted the fact that Joshua will just never see her in that way, but what she does do is pretty cool, where she like talks to Joshua about her feelings, and then they like respectfully are like, yeah, this is never gonna work, but like that's fine, and like Chloe finally has the closure that she needs, and I thought that was actually a pretty sweet thing for them to do, was to give Chloe some closure on her crush on Joshua that she's had for like 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely something that more series should do more often. But hey,
Yeah. Yeah. But
and then yeah, and then like there's this other one that involves Richard, and it kind of delves into like because things like Richard up to this point has been kind of shown as like this very like very like conflicted person about his ideals and like what he wants to do and such. And basically like the door kind of explores like the man before he did all these things and like kind of like how it led up to this point. And then like you getting Richard in Sky the Third is basically kind of like a penance or like redemption for him.
yeah.
And by the end, he gets relieved of like all the things that he's done, even though he
Yeah.
definitely caused some irreparable damage to Liberal. But they know that by then he wasn't of the right mind of heart. They felt like he repented for long enough, and that's where his story ends. Sadly, because like they've never brought him back
Yeah.
since. And you know what? Um,
I'm kind of fine
and
with
like
that, if I'm
I
being
I am
honest.
I'm also pretty fine with it. Yeah, like I feel like his story was like it started and then it ended, and that was fine. Like, can they bring him back? Sure, I would love if they brought him back. But like, I think about it for a second. Like, what more can you do with him? Question mark.
Yeah, like he's had his arc, and I'm glad that Falcom isn't trying
Like,
to
they're
redo
not
that arc every single game
they're
or
not
every single
milking it.
arc.
No.
But yeah,
Yeah.
which I am fine with
Yeah.
because he's a
Yeah.
good character.
Yeah. He's a pretty good character. Yeah. So like, I wouldn't mind seeing him again. Like maybe as like a little cameo. Maybe like see what he's
Yeah,
doing now. But like I guess like my interpretation of like what he's doing right now is that like he's probably like laying low, definitely not putting himself out there at all.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he like that's what I assume because like he got relieved of his duties.
Yeah, that was Starter 12, that you're talking about, I believe.
Yeah,
And then
that's
there,
yeah, that was the one I was
and
talking about. Was the one with Richard.
yeah, and then let's talk about Sundoor 2, otherwise known as the fishing door.
Okay, so Sundoors and Sky the Third are mini game doors, right?
Yep.
And the mini games in this game range from pretty fun ones like the quiz game, which is basically
Yeah.
trivia about the series up until that point. And
It gets
then
stressful though.
it gets pretty hard, yeah. Like there's some pretty deep cuts in there. And then like there's also this the arena, which is basically like a big gauntlet of enemies you fight.
Yeah.
With like particular bosses in there too. Some like
That's where you
really
fight
stress.
Cassius and Luve
Yeah, you fight Cassius and Lube at the same
at
time.
the
It's
same
fucking
time.
insane.
Yes.
It's fucking crazy. Like there's a lot of really insane bosses there. And then like there's also there's also this like other shorter one, which is like a little shoot 'em up game where you shoot at Gilberts as
Yep.
the Capu Sky Pirates. It's
Because of
pretty
course
funny.
it's Gilbert.
Yeah, fucking Gilbert. But yeah, the fishing door, oh my god, this door is fucking trash.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Oh
I
my
had to look up an
god.
exploit to finish it. And even
It's
then
so
it took a few
shit.
attempts.
It's so
It's
shit.
it's the worst. Yeah.
Basically, the fishing door. Basically, what it is that like you're doing the the fishing is a thing that has been in the series like last two games, and they wanted to like put it in this game somehow, so they made a whole door out of it. Where basically you have to like press the button at the right time to get points on the fish. But the thing is though, is that your opponent, I swear to God, your opponent in these things are like cheating. They are always ahead of you. It's so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, like it is not a
So
great
like
door.
so like the last level of his door is like actually like schizophrenic, dude. Like it's fucking
Yeah.
ugh. And
It,
the worst part about it is that even when you finish it, you get a fucking terrible accessory for it that you'll never use.
yep. Yep. And if I'm remembering if am I remembering correctly, they have to do all three to see starter 14, or
I
do you only have
think.
to do one? Because I know
I
you
think
only have to clear the normal arena and the first level of Campanella, but I think you have to
uh
do both levels of the casino. I could
I
be wrong though.
I'm not sure. I think the mini games you only have to do the
Okay.
first one
Okay.
yeah,
That's
to
good at
unlock the one.
least.
But yeah, like yeah, like I wanted to be a completionist and finish every level of all the mini games, and like yeah,
Same.
that fishing door was the last thing I did in the game because like it was so
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
And by that point, yeah. Also, like another thing about that accessory that I said was fucking awful. It's also exclusive to Estelle
Yep.
too, so it's like even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a bad accessory, and it's also exclusive to one character that's not even like that good, really, either.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say barring that door, I'd say my two least favorites are, don't get me wrong, these are two very, very interesting lore doors. It's just, I'd say they're the worst to read through first time around. That was Star Door 2, The Salt Pail, and Star Door 11, Phantom Thief B Report, just because it was written in a very dry fashion, and I assume it was intentional for
Yeah,
that. So it just,
they were in like visual novel format.
yeah, like I don't hate visual novels. I can read them sometimes, but it's just like
Yeah, no, it's not.
the way they wrote it, like I said, was felt very
Yeah,
dry, but it was intentionally
yeah, no,
dry. So
pretty much. Yeah, like they're supposed to be reports. They're not supposed to be like interesting, you know.
yeah, that like it adds a lot to the world. I will fully agree with you there, but people say that there, but I still think
Yeah. Uh,
those two are like my
yeah,
number
yeah,
two and
like
three least favorite tours.
yes, the salt pail incident gets called back to a couple
A lot,
times.
yeah. And
We
then
don't,
Phantom TP is
we
Phantom
don't
TP.
yeah, Phantom Thief, yeah, it's Blue Blanc. Like you know what it is. Like it's
Yeah.
him talking about stuff from him talking about stuff. It was pretty interesting. But okay. Though I guess we can get this out of the way while we still can. All right. Content warning.
Yes. Very big content
If
warning.
you are if you are squeamish, if you are like very easily grossed out by certain things, I recommend skipping this part of the video
Yeah.
entirely. We're going to be talking about Star Door 15, and Star Door 15 is not something for the faint of heart. This
Nope.
is a very very serious thing that this door tackles, and it is something that I'm shocked that's even in a video game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's by far the darkest. It is by far the darkest thing I've seen in Trails up to
Yeah,
Daybreak 1.
yeah. Like obviously, like I can't like say every detail because
Yeah,
um, it is very much very explicit
yeah,
with certain things. But okay, basically, all right. But without further ado, I'm going to talk about it. So, Starter 15 revolves around a character named Ren. Ren is a character that we've seen by now. She's kind of like a little shit, kind of like a little fucking evil, blah blah. But like at the end of Sky's second chapter, you kind of see like little glimpses of like what they would do with her here, I guess in a way. But like
yeah,
what I wasn't expecting was what the fuck they did here. Okay,
yeah,
so basically, Ren is a daughter of is a daughter of these two parents who they loved her. They cared for her. But like one time they had to go out to do something, so they left her in the care of a sitter, and the house burned down. But Ren escaped. She got away, but her parents never knew that. They thought that she died, and this becomes a this little thing here to expand on upon later, but that's not important right now. But yeah, Ren survives, right? But the issue though is that she gets kidnapped
yep.
by very awful people, and I don't know how, there's a better way to put this, but Ren as a child
Like
was
six, if that, like 6-ish.
6 or 7 years old, was prostituted in a brothel
Yep,
for the pleasure of awful human beings. And what you see in this door is like her hallucinating through this entire thing, making up all these like random, making up all these different like imaginary friends that she has, thinking that everything's all right, everything's good, but no,
yeah,
that's not what it is. She literally was prostituted as a child.
yeah. Like,
What the fuck?
the door, like Starter 15 does a very good job at like making you like think, wait, no, they wouldn't go that far, would they? No, no, they wouldn't do that. And then like they just pull the rug out from under you and you see her completely naked with scarred flesh. So
Yeah, no,
it
you
is,
see you see with her with scratches on her back, and
yeah,
I'm
all over her body.
that's it's awful, dude.
Yeah,
It's hard to watch, but like what I think is that it is a very good thing to have in the game
yeah,
as to show like how dark humanity can really get
yeah,
in this world. Like nothing like the thing is you don't think the series will ever get as dark as this, but this shows how evil and twisted humanity can really be.
yeah, yeah.
And okay,
Like
but
it's
there
mm,
there is a silver line. There is like a kind of silver line to this. So basically, um, Ouroboros they infiltrate this. By the way, the place that she's in is called Paradise. Yeah, wow. Very ironic name considering this is a fucking hell
yeah,
of children getting prostituted for the sake of dirty, disgusting people. But yeah, so basically, Ouroboros break in here. They kill everyone inside,
yep,
and they save the lives of the kids, but specifically Ren, they induct her into the Ouroboros organization, and then over the course of a couple more years, she becomes the Angel of Slaughter,
yep,
one of the enforcers, and that's where you see Ren in Sky Second Chapter, so on and so forth. Ren up to this point. So yeah, and like yeah, that's the end of the door basically. Like it is very much just it
yeah,
it's it is very much like a really awful thing. But man, it is probably one. It's definitely like one of the best like things this series has ever done because I would never think in a million years that a game would tackle something as dark and twisted as that.
yeah. Especially like this early on in Trails, like it hasn't gotten that like
Yeah,
it has
no,
never been this dark like that. It's never gotten that dark. Like even with Hamel, it was only like
Yeah,
there's only implications of it, and like it was
yeah, no,
never explicitly shown. And also, yeah,
yeah, like
Starter
also like yeah,
15 is the darkest thing I've seen in Trails.
yeah, no. Also like the Steam version of this game, like it is like they don't censor anything in the Steam version. Like
Nope.
they show you they show you like as much as they can for the game.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I think the worst they do is showing the scratches on her back.
yeah. Ugh, like, God, I give credit to Falcom for for is like not like
Yeah,
they treat this with the gravity it deserves, and it is
yeah,
very clear they're not glorifying it because it is
no,
it
no,
is
they're
shown to
doing it.
be as
Yeah, no,
disgusting
they're
as it
doing it.
is.
Yeah, no, they're doing it as a showcase of like how awful and bad it can be,
Yeah,
and it is awful and bad, obviously. So like yeah, it's not there for shock value. It's there to
nope.
show us like
Yeah,
how bad it can possibly get.
yeah. Like I think of this. I consider this to be one of the best doors in the game, if not the best, in terms of just
Yeah,
showing what showing what the world is about. Like obviously I abhor the content of the door, like what happened to Ren in there, but like it's it's very well written and I appreciate what it adds to the world.
yeah.
So,
It does add a lot to this to the story to the overarching story of the series. But yeah, and then yeah, like Ren, and then like yeah, after this, like you're done with it, and then you know you yeah, after I saw this door for the first time, I didn't know how to feel. Like I stepped out of
yeah.
my room. I took a walk around my house. Like I had a glass of water and just like was really thinking like, wow, that is. I did not expect the game to do that ever. Like,
Yeah. Like
what the fuck?
for me I
Like back for the early 2000s even. Like,
Yeah, like for me, like for what happened for me was I was playing it and it was like late-ish at night to the point where I was like, okay, I'll just view the store, go to bed, and I'll start again tomorrow. I did Star Door 15. I I did it. I saved. I turned the game off, went upstairs, laid in my bed for like an hour or two just thinking and reflecting.
yeah,
So,
yeah, no, it was, yeah, like it very much just like it just leaves like a lasting impression on
yeah.
anyone who sees it. Like
Yeah,
pretty much
like
everyone I've talked to about this particular door agrees that like this this content was like very well handled for how
yeah.
like awful and dark it was.
Yeah, like if this was just for shock value, I think people would have gotten on Falcom's case for it because
I know, yeah, no, it was
this definitely was
definitely
not.
not. No, definitely not. I at least I don't think so.
Yeah,
Like if it was for shock value, they probably would have showed more explicit content.
yeah, like they showed just enough to like make it abundantly clear. Yeah, this is what's going on, but not enough to
Yeah,
make you think,
I,
oh, this is just for shock
yeah,
value.
yeah. Like I said before, the worst they get is just showing like the scratches on her back.
Yeah,
Like that is probably the worst they get, and like maybe some of the descriptor terms they use are a bit
yeah,
questionable, but like and some it's nothing that I would say is like going way too out of line, but it's enough to for you to get the idea of what's going on.
yeah, and then just like the fact of like just the way that that uh the last child before like the last child that Ren was hallucinating. I can't for the life of me remember his name. Before the way he was said, you killed them all, Ren, and oof, it was like that was I was like
Yeah,
that
yeah, like
yeah
and like this door is this like particular door is like the kind of the off point the off point to how Ren would be characterized in every other game going forward. because after this point, like Ren, like Estelle and Joshua, like I said in the last episode, like they they're trying to save Ren, right? Like they don't want a child, being part of this organization, like doing bad things because they see good in her. And before Joshua and Estelle get sucked into the cube, they were actually going to Crossbell to find Ren,
Yep.
and Ren also happened to be sucked into this cube too. And then they meet back up, and then Joshua and Estelle make a vow like, oh, we'll search the entirety of the world for you, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And when we get to the next episode, we will talk about the payoff to that. But yeah,
Yes. Yes, we will.
yeah. So yeah, that is one thing to note. Like Estelle and Joshua's goal right now is to save Ren from the organization and basically adopt her into
Yeah.
their family.
Yeah, and I'd also say trying to save Ren from herself to an extent because
Yeah,
I feel like Ren is also trapped in her own head at that
yeah.
point.
Like Ren,
So
yeah, Ren is very much characterized by her like conflicting with her own emotions and like not really understanding how to feel about certain things.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like throughout the series, you kind of see her like come out of her shell more and like really become the person that we wanted her to be the entire time. And
yeah,
it's probably like one of the most satisfying examples of like how the series uses the interconnected story formula.
yeah. Also, for I forget if I mentioned this in the last episode, but Ren is my favorite character from Trails. So
Ren Bright is one of the fan favorite characters. Like
for good
pretty much
reason.
everyone, everyone's favorite character, like in their top three, top five. She's in my top five. Like I love her
Yeah,
a lot. I like some characters over her, like two of them over her, but um to the point. But that's more so bias. But like I
yeah,
think she's probably better. She's definitely better written than both of them. But yeah,
yeah. Like like from what I have seen of Trails, because obviously I'm not done with it yet. No one is. Even people can only be caught
yeah,
up with Trails at the moment, which I am
yeah,
not even with the English releases.
yeah. No,
She is, in my opinion, the best written character so far.
yeah. No, Ren is amazing. Like she is very, very, very much one of the best characters in the whole series. Also very important to like the
Yep.
series going forward up until this point. So get used to seeing her a lot.
Yeah. And I am glad I picked Red as my favorite. I ended up with Red as my favorite character, not some like Kevin or Richard who almost never come back. Like,
Yeah, like it's satisfying to like have a character that you like that also appears in a lot of games, and like Ren is one of those characters that appears in a lot of games, so
yeah,
she gets the chance to interact with other characters and like have her like have her herself like be like develop more as her own person, and like seeing her in Daybreak One was like really like really like heartwarming to me, like seeing how much
yeah,
she's grown.
yes. It's an amazing feeling of just. I,
Like
it's like seeing
it's kind of
someone.
like yeah, it's kind of like if you have like a little like a little sibling or something, and like you're very protective of them when they're a kid, but like when they grow up, like to be like 18, 21, whatever, and like seeing
Yeah,
them all grown up, like you just can't help but feel happy that they come this far since this point.
yeah. I mean,
Like
I
Ren kind of grew alongside like the fan base and like the players, I think.
yeah. Like Ren is like even like I'm very I wouldn't say protective, but like I there is I what's the word I'm looking for here? I definitely would say that like I guess for lack of a better term, protective of Ren to an extent because even though like she could I'd say probably she could very easily kick my ass. It's just like Matthew said, it's the little sibling thing. Like
Yeah, like Ren to me is like like my little sibling, like she'd
yeah,
be like a
same.
friend, whatever. Like that's what she is to me. And like and the thing is, what I find very okay. I don't mean to like kind of derail this
Yeah,
by talking about
okay.
problems they have with the Trails fandom in general, but like the Trails fandom in general have a lot of really weird fetishes.
Yep. Yep.
Like some like I know pretty much every fandom has like their weird people in it, but like because the Trails fandom is already like so small as it is, a lot of
It's
these
easier
people
to
tend to
notice.
a lot of these people stand out more, and
Yeah.
like, and where it stems from is that a lot of these people like sexualize younger characters, and I'm just like, ew,
Yeah.
ew, dude,
Yeah,
and
like
like,
especially in the case of Ren, like yeah, I know she's 18 at the end of Daybreak 2 apparently.
yeah,
Still,
but like,
no.
I still, yeah, no, like even if she was 18, like
I
now, I
don't
still
care.
wouldn't.
Yeah, it's like
Because like
yeah,
also like okay, okay,
I can't like
I don't mean to be like annoying about this, but like you know how fucked up it is to sexualize a fucking rape victim.
yeah. Yeah. Like
You know how fucked up that is. Come
yeah,
on, dude.
it's also for me at least on top of that, it's also the fact that I I was 17 when I first played Trails I and Ren was introduced like 11, 12.
Yes,
So it's like, okay, I can't get the image. It's like she is like a little sibling. I don't think anything will be able to change that.
like
I will
I
say
took.
she's growing up. Like yes, like I will admit she's growing up to be attractive. That's it. That is
Yeah,
it.
no, yeah, no. I wouldn't try. I wouldn't have her as like my waifu or anything. It's
Yeah. That's what that's the thing like when people say, "Oh, who's your best girl of Trails?" I have to clarify what they mean because Ren is my favorite female character, but like in terms of waifu, fuck no.
no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't either. Like I respect her. I like her as a character because she's
Yeah.
great. But like, would I ever see her in any way other than like a friend or a little sibling? No.
Yeah, exactly. No. It's just yeah.
Like she like that's why I always felt like the intention was for the character. They weren't trying to do that with her.
Which is why it
And
annoys me that apparently she's getting a romance around Trails to Daybreak too.
oh my god, man.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true. I really
I
hope that's not
I
true.
hope that's not true.
Yeah,
Same.
like
It's just like
I haven't played the game, but like when I
if
do,
it
I hope that's not true.
if it does, I am literally only gonna be watching it on YouTube just because I want Ren content.
Yeah,
Because
but
like
like it's probably,
otherwise I don't
to be
care.
honest, to be honest though, like that might be misinformation because like
I fucking hope it is.
Trails fans like to spread misinformation sometimes,
For
and
once,
like
I like not for once. I hope that people are just talking out their ass with this one
yeah, no,
more than ever.
I assume so. Like there's no freaking way, right?
Yeah. Also, yeah.
Like
I
I get that Ren is like becoming like a lot more open and honest with herself, so she's like playfully flirting, but that's what it is. It's just like kind of playful, whatever, you know. Thought it would never really go past anything like
yeah.
a relationship. Like
Yeah.
I always felt like that change in her personality was more so just her being like outside of her, like being like not being so like shy about everything. Her being more open and honest. But like it's that's where it kind of ends. Like it's like playful like little teasing, not really anything past that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to do Ren, right? Like currently, is to just like kind of use her like kind of like to use her more as like a character that they you can always rely on because like she's very smart, very bright. Like you could bring her into like do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Um, and then like when she has to do, and then when she talks to other characters, like she teases them. She tries to be like all friendly with them. Like that's fine. Like, but like romantically, like no, like I don't think so really.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
like they try to pair her with a character that's like around her age.
Yeah. Like, and even then, I would still be, I would still be
Yeah,
iffy about it. So
I, yeah,
it
I probably would be too. Like
it's
even then,
just
because
gonna
like
be,
weird.
it's the older sibling thing. Like,
I
don't mess with,
Yeah,
don't
it's like
mess with the younger one.
yeah. It's kind of like how like even like when people are older, like their parents are still a bit overprotective of like who they date and such.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's kind of like
Exactly.
that. It's kind of like that. Like oh oh, I don't want you taking a runaway and like doing bad things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I'm basically just like talking a bunch of weird stupid shit at this point. But like yeah, like Ren is a character that like will be appearing more often. She is very good. We'll talk more about her. Um, we'll talk about like more how she is in these other games later down the line. But yeah, she's here to stay, and I'm glad that she's here to stay.
Yeah, same. Same.
Like
Because
she's appeared in every arc at least once,
yep.
which is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
she has appeared in every
Yeah,
arc. So
yeah,
Reveral,
Liberal,
Crossbow,
Liberal,
Arbonia, and
and
Yeah,
Calvert,
Calvard, yeah.
and
I was just saying
Calvert.
Crossbow again.
Yeah, Calvert. But she's appeared in every arc. Like she's not in every game, but she's appeared in every arc.
Yeah, like she wasn't in first chapter, for example, but
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
been
No,
in most
she wasn't
games since
she wasn't a character until later.
second. Yeah.
But yeah, she's a character that'll be here to stay, and I'm glad that she's here to stay because she's really cool and very likable, very fun.
Yeah.
Um, like like barring like the whole like barring but the very like dark the very dark backstory that she has, like she she is a very fun character, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, she's probably one she's actually not probably. She is my favorite character in all of fiction. So it's just she is so
Yeah,
well written
they,
and
yeah, they and like also the series treats her with like a lot of respect. They don't like
yeah.
try to they don't try to undermine any of the things that like happen to her.
Hunter, yeah.
Like like pretty much every character interaction she has is like very well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they usually pair her with characters that like can usually like either try and like challenge her on her like her thinking, like oh like someone like a Stellar Joshua who could like challenge her thinking, or like someone that can kind of sympathize with her in a way, kind of like someone like Kevin or Van or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see. Also, another thing, Ren is also interacted with every protagonist
Yep.
at some point.
Yep.
Like the one that she interacted with the least is probably Reen.
Yeah. 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 No. Definitely the one she's interacted the least with, because Estelle
Was Yeah,
and
Estelle,
running through the
Kevin,
rest in my head.
yeah, Kevin, Lloyd,
Lloyd, Rain. Yeah.
Lloyd, Rufus, and Van.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay. But yeah, like yeah, she's really good. Like yeah, like get used to seeing her because she's gonna be here to stay until further notice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but yeah. Anyways, like yeah, content warning over.
Yeah.
We're done. We're done talking about things like that. We're gonna try and cover some other things in this game. Let's see. Okay. Uh. Well, I guess we can talk a bit more about Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin's also like a pretty tragic, dark character. Like I talked a little bit about it in the past. Where like a lot of his struggles center around like him feeling like he was responsible for one particular character's death, and like this character is the older sister of Reese,
Yep.
and she was the one who took Kevin in when he was an orphan, because okay, basically like okay, Kevin Kevin's mother Kevin had a father and mother, right? They were a loving family, so on and so forth. But his father abandoned his mother and him. He was he went the meme of like, oh, went out for milk, never came back.
Yeah.
And then Kevin's mother went crazy, like trying to take care of like a single child all by herself. She tried killing Kevin by strangling him, and it was very traumatic. And like
Yeah.
I think Kevin's mother, um, she ended up dying like a little bit later on from a heart attack, I think. Um,
Kevin's mother, she stabbed herself.
she stabbed herself. Yeah, she stabbed herself, and like yeah, she died. And then like yeah, Kevin eventually became like kind of like a street kid, like running around trying to find things to get. And then eventually, Rufina, who is the character I was talking about a bit earlier, finds him, and she um takes him into her like little like orphanage thing to take care of her. And then eventually Kevin and her little sister Reese eventually become best friends. They hang out with each other all the time. They eventually grow up to do their own things. Reese becomes a nun for the church, and then Kevin becomes very much a a priest himself, and then eventually, which leads into the whole thing about um the Growl's Ritter and how he awakened to a stigma the death because of the death of Rufina, and him feeling like he was responsible for that because he feels like that his stigma was the reason why she died. But like, no,
Yeah,
no,
no.
like it was not that. Like he couldn't control it, and like yeah, Rufina got in the way. Like Rufina was trying to protect him, and she died doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
And like that's a big thing that Kevin kind of thing that kind of looms over Kevin's head throughout the game, and like the Phantasmal King, as I'll call him, kind of taunts Kevin a lot about this. I wonder why. I wonder why this
yeah,
Phantasmal King taunts Kevin about this very particular thing that happened to this very particular person and this very particular part of the game, very particular part of his life. I wonder why. Yeah. Anyways, the Phantasmal King taunts him about this thing, and Kevin gets fucking mad about it, and like oh stop taunting me, like stop bringing it up, whatever. But like throughout the game, Kevin and Reese they comfort each other, and like they try to figure out what the hell's going on, and then eventually Kevin gets Kevin like goes into the deeper parts of Phantasma, and he literally goes to hell. Like
yep,
it's he literally just goes to hell, and
yeah,
he's confronted by every single person that he's killed as a Gralsritter, because like his title is the Heretic Hunter. It's in the name. He hunted down people that betrayed the church, which they betrayed God, so to speak.
yeah,
So like in this in this hell, he fights against all the different people that he's killed as heretics, and at the very end, he fights against Weissman. Remember him from last game? He killed him, and he's being taunted by Weissman again. He has to kill him again to like really send him away for good.
yeah,
And like this is probably like one of the darkest moments of the game, where he literally fights against the people that he killed all
yeah.
over, taunting him.
It's also one of the most difficult parts in the game, in my opinion, because you only have Kevin and Reese in your party, and it is and so it and it's late game stats for enemies. So yeah,
It's very cool from a story standpoint of like fighting against all these different like people that Kevin was taunted by, and then you start to think about it. Why does Phantasma like seem to like wrap itself around Kevin? And then eventually you find out that Phantasma basically how it works is that it basically is like taking parts of Kevin's like memories and scattering them throughout this thing, and basically like kind of taunting him in a way to where like it's like taunting him with his past, like kind of taking advantage of like all these different dark things that he wants to lock away, and he has to face them head on. And then and the reason why all these other characters are in here is because they've interacted with Kevin at least one or two times, so they're kind of tied to him by this whole weird thing, and that's the reason why they're here too.
yeah. It's
So yeah, that's basically the reason why Phantasma seems to warp around and cater to Kevin in a lot of ways.
yeah,
And it's pretty interesting to see. But yeah, the amalgamation of all this is like you fight against all these different like demons from the different things, find out more about Kevin's past and like where he comes from and like how he develops throughout all this, and you find out like almost at the end of the game, you find out that the Phantasmal King is actually Rufina the entire time. Um, well, I guess a version of Rufina who haunts Kevin for it kind of like plays with Kevin's emotions of like him believing that he caused her death when in reality he didn't. So he fights against as the final boss. He fights against the amalgamation of his stigma given form into a monster. He beats that, and then eventually him and Reese shoot Rufina with his bowgun to send her out send her out with glory, and to finally put this fucking thing to rest. And now finally after all this time, Kevin is finally able to let go, finally able to move on and let go of this thing that's been looming on him. Him constantly thinking that Rufina was the cause of everything when it really was just him running away from his problems constantly.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, uh, the going back to Phantasma for a second, it wasn't entirely surrounded around Kevin. It was almost, it's very, very predominantly surrounded by Kevin. There is one aspect that wasn't, and that is the Lord of Phantasma's, uh, Lord of Phantasma's, uh, assistant, essentially, the Schwarzritter. It
Yeah,
is very
yeah,
obviously Louve.
yeah. The Schwartzwitter is like a version of Lube, and basically like what I interpreted from it is that it basically is like, okay, Joshua didn't fully move on
Yeah.
from like Louve in Sky Second Chapter, so like a part of Louve like still lingered in his mind and created the Schwartzritter,
Yep.
which is basically the last bit of Louve left that Joshua has to get over before fully being able to accept that he's gone.
Yeah. That's also my interpretation of what happened. So it's a very interesting. It's very
Yeah,
interesting to see
yeah,
what
yeah. Yeah, it's
resulted
probably
from it.
the best way they could have done the best way they
Yeah.
could have like re-implemented Louve into
Yeah.
the story without like reviving him. You
Yeah,
know,
and quite frankly, reviving Louve would have just been a slap in the face.
it
And
would
so
have been.
I'm
It would have.
very glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, no, they just they did they played with the idea and made it like a whole like phantasma thing instead.
Yeah, just like just being able to give the character one last hurrah and move on.
Yeah,
So,
they move on from it and like it's pretty good. I
yep.
enjoyed it, but yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just
Yeah,
a little segment of Louve like lingered in Joshua's mind and it caused the Schwartz video to get made and Joshua stopped the Schwartz video to fully move on from Louve.
yeah,
And like that's basically where it ends there. Like yeah, this is the end of Louve. They met they this is the end of Louve the character, but not the end of his legacy though, because
yeah.
every characters like later on, reference Louve and how he was like the greatest swordsman who ever lived, so on and so forth. No one could top him, and like I think that's probably the best way to do it because like
Yeah.
um he's one of the characters that is deserves to be remembered by so many people because he left a lasting impression on so many players.
Especially with this boss fight and boss theme being as hard as it was
Yeah,
in every
like
single
like like
Sky game.
to me, he's the best villain that Trails has ever made. Like in terms of the the story that he was a part of and like his impact on the series and like how threatening and menacing and cool he is and also like the sympathetic side of him. I think Luve is like by far the best written villain in all of Trails. Like there's been plenty of villains after him, and I don't think any of them are quite on the same. Like maybe there's some on the same level, but there's none that are better than him,
Yeah,
in
I'll agree
in my
that he
opinion,
is.
anyways.
I'll agree that he is definitely one of the best. I wouldn't say he's the greatest because to me there is a distinction.
Yeah,
Uh, but I would definitely say he's
yeah, because
very high up on the list for of
yeah,
best Trails villains.
it, yeah, like I what I like, yeah, what I said before, what I like about him is that he pretty much embodies like a lot of like what Sky is, like and very much opposes the main party in a lot of things, and
Yeah.
is he's very threatening, very imposing, but then like also has that air of sympathy that where like you understand where he's coming from and like you want him to change, and he does change at the end, but like right before he dies, which is like very heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still say, yeah, he
Movie,
is one of
movie,
my favorite Trails characters.
yeah, he's definitely up there for me. Like I think Louve is one of the best characters in the whole series,
Yeah.
and how Falcom treats his character with respect is something that I very much appreciate about them. They don't try to undermine anything about him. They treat him with as much respect as they can for
Yeah.
being a dead character. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah. There's a scene I want to talk about it, but it comes in a later Trails game, so I can't.
Yeah, it's really good involving Lube, but like, yeah, don't forget about Lube just yet. Like, yeah, this might be the last time you see him physically, but this is not the last time he's mentioned.
Yeah, he's a very good he's a very good character. But anyway,
Yeah,
back to the Lord of Phantasma.
yeah, the Lord of Phantasma. Yeah, I said it was Rufina the entire time, and like basically like that's like Joshua's greatest enemy. Sorry, not sorry, Kevin's greatest enemy is like not being able to get past Rufina's death. So like the Phantasmal King manifests itself as Rufina to like kind of taunt him about a part of him he can't let go,
Yeah,
which I think was a very good way of doing it. But like, yeah, like if you like pay attention, like you could tell who it is, like maybe like a couple hours in. But yeah,
yeah, but I mean, to be fair, before I say it, to be fair, I am I am a bit of a dumbass.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Yeah, like
didn't see it.
like being it's like I started thinking about it. I'm like, why do you know so much about Kevin and Reese? Like, what the fuck? Like why do you know so much
Yeah,
about that? That's weird.
I was a dumbass, so I still am, and I didn't see it, so
Yeah, no, it's
oops.
fine. Yeah, not everyone's gonna pick up on it, but yeah,
Yeah,
like if I like go back in hindsight, like if I was like thinking of the fact that I playing if I was like playing this game for the first time again, I probably would be able to tell who it was
yeah,
like after a couple hours of playing the game. But like that's not the point. The point is not really the reveal. It's more sort of like how it affects Kevin.
yeah, yeah,
And like I think like that's fine as well. Like Trails also plays with the idea of like hidden identities and like how that like affects other characters when they find out.
yeah,
And, like literally their first ever one was Lube.
yeah,
So yeah. But yeah, like they don't necessarily stop using stuff like this for a while. They
yep,
um they definitely toy with this idea a lot more in other games.
yeah, yeah.
But um yeah, like but yeah, in general though, like yeah, Sky the Third is a very good game.
If you couldn't tell
It
by
is
the fact you've been going for almost 90 minutes.
yeah, it's a very good game. Like definitely go out like if you play Sky first chapter, second chapter, you will not be disappointed by third Sky the Third at all. Like it is a very good and satisfying game. Sets up a lot of things that the series has going forward, all that stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great game. So can't
Yeah,
recommend playing this one enough, especially if you like the other Trails of the Sky games, because it is a great segue into the future of the series.
yeah, no, it's like yeah, it's very much like a game that is definitely worth playing. It's not that long, and it tells very good. It tells a very good story that I think definitely needed to be told.
Definitely, definitely.
Like like Kevin's not the most important character ever in this series, but I think the story's good enough to where it's okay if it's not that important.
Agreed. Agreed.
But like even then, it's kind of a lie anyways because the church is becoming more important now in the
Yeah.
series. So
Yeah.
so like even then, uh, knowing about the church and like the Growls Ritter and like all this other such is like something you want to know going forward. And like
Yeah.
we'll talk about other characters that are Growls Ritters and some squires and such.
In later
But like
games, but
yeah, is your first introduction to this entire idea behind the Growls Ritter.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, oh, and I guess one other little thing is that like after like the ending of the game plays, where like everyone runs out of the cube entirely,
Yep.
and like all the characters are like saying goodbye to everyone and like saying, "Oh, see you on the other side," so on and so forth. Kevin recuperates back with the leader of the Growlritter, Ein Selnetz, who is the first Growlritter. He reconvenes with her and he's like, "Oh, I want to change my title to something else." And the
Yeah.
game cuts off. The game cuts off right before he says it,
Yep. Yep.
and
Also,
you don't find out what his new title is until a later game.
yep. Also, Einselnit is actually I think I mentioned this in the first chapter video. Yeah, she's Cornelia.
Yeah, you know those Carnelian novels you were reading? Yeah, Ein Selna is the character in
Is the
that.
titular character.
Yeah, yeah, she's the titular character of Carnelia, and then another
We
character in the
haven't
novel
met
named
Toby
Toby.
yet.
Yeah, the other character named Toby is a different character we'll talk about later.
We have not met him though yet. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting. We're at this point. I don't know what there are three videos. I'm not videos. Three episodes. I can think of that we might do next. So I will be telling them to Matthew to see which one we're doing next after this, after we end. So unless you have anything else you want to add, I think we're good to sign off.
But yeah, no, like definitely go and play Sky the Third. Like, don't listen to the people saying that it's skippable
It
because
is
I don't
not.
think it is. It is not skippable. Like those people are copers. They're like no.
They're trying to shave off games wherever they can, but they really can't.
No, no. But like, yeah, next time we'll talk about like yeah, whatever we talk about next time, it will probably either be the next game of the series or maybe we'll do a different video after that.
Yeah,
Who knows? We'll think
could be a
about it.
character video, could be a game video. You'll see.
But yeah, no, but like yeah, without any more delay, yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you
Yeah,
for watching, indeed.
yeah, me and Kira signing out.
See ya.